Welcome to Raising Extreme Athletes Uncensored. This is your reality check and home for uncensored, trusted advice and stories from the trailblazers who came before us. Because it takes a strategic village to raise an extreme pro athlete. This is your village. Today, we're going to be talking about dealing with losses. That's right. Let's talk about the four-letter word, loss. I'm Marina, your host, mother of two aspiring rock climbers and wife to an extreme athlete. Losses. What do we do about a loss? There's no possible way to go around this. This is one of the more devastating parts of it all, but it is also an absolute necessity. Okay? Losses strengthens your child. I don't care if you want to put another spin on it, but at the end of the day, a loss, especially if it's handled correctly, will strengthen your child. But it's what goes on in the house. I will go back to it. What is that conversation in the house? Because the conversation is completely part of what is going to go on and in their heads as well, right? How they are going to perceive it. Okay, because a loss, it's a given. There's no way around it. There's not a single human in the world that has not lost at one point or another in whatever way. How you handle that loss, that's the key. I have an entire podcast about the art of losing. Really important because I've got some examples in there of how to and how not to. Make sure to check that episode out. So let's talk about losses, but from a different angle. Injustices. What about the injustices? Okay, what about the day that your son or your daughter is about to qualify to a really important competition, and we just saw the Olympics, or we've seen it happen in the Olympics, and they got sick. Okay, they got sick or they got injured, and a totally lesser child or athlete who has barely put any work wins that competition. Talk about injustice, right? I mean, it's cruelty, to be honest with you. We, in Guatemala, we have this one guy for mountain biking. He is, without a doubt, the best there is. He's incredible. But he's older. He's 24. And he was doing all his competitions, whatnot. But before, because, for competing for the Olympics, it takes probably a year. You have to qualify at all these different competitions. He was offered an incredible opportunity to do this amazing, 6-day mountain biking race in South Africa. Okay, he got there, and apparently there was this breakout of some food poisoning. Basically, people were not adjusted to the food there in South America. He came back, and 1 week, but he timed it that 1 week after he came back, he would be able to rest, get over the jet lag to compete in one of the more important competitions that he needs for qualifying for the Olympics. But he had food poisoning. He was so ill for over a month. He obviously missed the competition. He could not compete. That competition was his gateway to the Olympics, right? And in Guatemala, it's a big deal because he gets a lot more funding and all this other stuff. And it's how he dealt with it, right? It's how you deal with it, because this is going to happen. Your kid might get sick. They might get injured. You know what? You might get stuck in traffic and not make it. Whatever happens, you need to deal with understanding, because that's a loss. It's a bigger loss in their mind than the actual loss of that competition. On top of that, you need to be discussing the actual loss of that competition. Maybe they weren't fully there that day. Maybe it was literally by a second. So my youngest son, they just had this recent competition. And in climbing, the way it works is you don't see your components. You don't know how they do until you've had your chance to go, right? And even then, you don't see the whole picture until the end. And you know. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the Olympics for climbing. The guy that actually won the gold medal didn't even know he won the gold medal until the very, very, very end, after everybody's already gone. And they called him, and he was shocked because there's so many things going on. Anyways, so my youngest son, He's way above the majority of the people on his team. I'm not gonna, say it any other way. Not that it's a good thing. They're just their levels are a lot less. And because the routes were really easy, he was just enjoying himself. He was taking his time, just because he knew that he could do it. It was no problem. He knew that he was not going to fall. The other kid, who was a lot less than him, was really worried, and he was doing it much faster. And he finished eventually, but he he missed some stuff, but he was stumbling. It wasn't as flowing. But because he finished, it came down to the time. And my son came in second because of that. You need to be always on your very best. My son wasn't upset about it at all. He learned. That was also the thing, is how we talked about it at home, that we learn, even though you think you might be the best, you need to train and your performance needs to be the best, as if though you are going up against people way better than you. So it's all about the conversation that you have in the house. How are you discussing this with your house, right? This is something that is so important, is the discussion, to be completely aware of how to handle that situation, because you are the one that puts those ideas in their head. You are the one that puts those solutions in your head. You are the one that discusses with them how to be better, rather than focus on the loss, rather than focus, the injustice, how horrible it was that this kid lost to this kid. What's the point? How is that going to help? You need to know how to handle it. You need to be the role model in the situation, and they will follow. So it's about dealing with the losses. It's not about injustices. It's how to handle, learn, and move on. Because like I said in the beginning, losses strengthens you. Losses strengthens the child. All right. I want to hear your stories about losses, how you guys deal with those losses. Please send them to me. Let me know how you guys manage. I'm really curious. Okay. Remember, it takes a strategic village to make this happen. I'm Marina, your host. I want to hear how you are doing it and how we could help and support you. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review and share it with your friends.